Happy Tuesday, y'all. My name is Chef D Malfi, and welcome to Plant-Based Made Easy. I'm so excited that you're here. Today, I'm making lunch with you, and this is a longer recipe. We're gonna make smoky split pea soup with smoky tofu bites. It is so great for lunch or for dinner, or really any time of day. It's an excellent recipe, and I sort of prepped ahead of time just so we could get through it. So I don't know about you, but I absolutely adore split peas. They're one of my absolute favorite of the legumes. They are super high in protein, and we're going to talk about it. The reason I love this soup is because it's flavorful, it is really nutrient dense, and it is protein rich. So it's going to keep me feeling good, full, and satiated for a long time, hopefully right until my next meal. So let's get into it. The first thing that we're going to do is we'll start with the smoky tofu, okay? So I had to actually marinate this ahead of time. I'm going to do a split screen. And if you have any questions along the way, you let a sister know, all right? Because I'm here for you. I did this ahead of time. You want to marinate your tofu in this marinade, which I'm going to describe, for about 30 minutes. You want to let it sit and marinate. So I'm going to use 1 block of organic sprouted tofu. I love organic tofu. It should be the only type of tofu that you buy, especially if you're here in the United States. Conventional tofu is out. We've got to just say no, no, no to conventional tofu. We only want to eat organic, all right? Now, I've just cubed it up, and it's sitting in this beautiful marinade. Let me describe it to you. I have in here 1/4 cup of tamari or low sodium soy sauce. I also have in here a tablespoon of maple syrup. I also have a tablespoon of liquid smoke. And then I have my flavor agents that are going to be really important in this. Apple cider vinegar, as well as onion powder, garlic powder, and black pepper. So let me show you a couple of these ingredients. Of course, you know maple syrup, right? I'm going to use organic maple syrup. This stuff is so good. It is really, really dark and robust. It has a beautiful, rich color. Here's my low sodium soy sauce. It says reduced sodium right here. This comes from Trader Joe's. I love it. You could also use coconut aminos or liquid aminos. And then here's my liquid smoke. This is all natural concentrated hickory liquid smoke, and this comes from Amazon. It's really good stuff. And then, of course, ACV, apple cider vinegar with the mother intact. That's that living, like floating organism on the bottom. That's really good for you, especially your gut belly. And we're only using a teaspoon of that, but that's just going to emphasize that vinaigrette quality. And then, of course, garlic powder. You got to love it. And a little onion powder. So I just made this marinade. I diced up the tofu and I let it marinate for 30 minutes, like I said. Now I have my oven. It's preheated to 350 degrees. I have it a little higher though. I'm going to do mine at 400 just so we can get through the recipe faster. But in your oven at home, do it at 350, all right? Now, I have a baking sheet with a piece of parchment. In my case, I'm using a piece of silk pat, and this is really cool stuff. This is cut your own size, which is great because I use a little small oven. And this is BPA-free, and it's FDA-approved BPA-free, so it's really good. It's like certifiably good, right? And I'm going to use that or a piece of parchment, but I'm going to avoid using aluminum foil in my kitchen. And I hope you'll join me in that because that does not break down in our landfill. So I'm going to take the tofu out of the marinade. And I'm literally just going to place it on my baking sheet, and I'm making sure that none of the pieces are touching too close. I don't want them to have room between each of the diced pieces and the cubes. This is going to create a really nice and crispy bit of tofu. All right, you don't want to just like throw this down with the marinade and everything, because what will end up happening is it'll just cook in the marinade and it'll remain soft and it won't ever get super crispy. This looks so good. Now, if you don't want to use tofu, I suppose you could use tempeh. I've never tried it though, so I don't know exactly how it would turn out, but my guess is it would be delicious. I really like tofu though because it's one of these things that for a long time we used to think, oh, it's not a healthy food source, especially for women, especially for premenopausal women. It's for lactating women or women that were pregnant. And that has all now been debunked. Thank goodness. Protein from soy and tofu specifically is great, especially and most importantly, if it's organic. So you can see that I actually left enough room. Nothing is touching. This is going to go right into my oven. And I'm going to let this cook up for about 20 minutes or so. Whew, the door is hot. 20 minutes on the clock, and we go. All right, now let's get to the soup, the smoky split pea soup. So yummy. I'm gonna do this in a side saute pan or pot. And this is a nice large pot, but it's a wide surface area. So it's kind of like half saute pan, half pot. You see that? Now I'm doing this so that it will cook faster. If you have a wider surface area, you're going to cook this faster. Get this on a medium-high heat, and then throw down just like a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. You can use water if you're whole food plant-based. That is totally okay. And now we want some mirepoix. Can anyone guess what mirepoix is? If you've never heard of it, I'm going to tell you in just a second after I take a sip. Guesses? Guesses, anyone? All right. Mirepoix. Carrot, onion, celery. Here in the United States, that is. Everyone has their version of mirepoix culturally. In the South, they do it a little different. In the South, they remove the celery and they add pepper because they need it a little spicy, right? But here, most of the United States will use celery, onion, and carrot. And I'm using this amazing mirepoix mix that is it's already pre-sliced and diced, which I love. Yes, I am a chef, but of course I love like time savers. And I buy this mirepoix once a week. I do, because I can use it in a lot of different stuff. I love it using this mirepoix inside of burgers, inside of sloppy joes. I love it, obviously, inside of soup. It says right here, mirepoix, it's chopped vegetable mix. And the cool thing about this is that it has an expiration date on the bottom. And so because it's pre-chopped, you really want to follow that expiration date. You want to use it as soon as you get it from the market. You don't want to let it sit around for too long. Really, people don't really think about that when it comes to chopped or pre-chopped veggies, but it's true. We really need to make sure we're using them quickly because they are more susceptible to becoming moldy and getting bacteria growth on it because it's been pre-chopped. All right, so I'm just gonna let this mirepoix cook down. I'm using a little extra virgin olive oil as my base, but again, you could use water, you could use coconut oil, you could use plant-based butter. That would be fantastic, or a combo of oil and butter. And really, the goal is to really just cook this down and saute it for about 8 minutes or so until they soften up. And then we will season it and then add the split piece. One cool little trick though, if you're in a hurry, and because this is a lunch recipe, I would suspect most of you probably want to get lunch on the table as quick as possible. One of the ways to actually expedite the cooking process, this is a cool trick, is take a little sea salt, which I have here, and you can throw a little sea salt onto whatever is in your stock pot or your saute pan. And this, just a couple pinches, is literally going to help this begin to saute quicker. It's going to break it down faster, and it's going to allow all of that natural water in the mirepoix and all those vegetables to break down and to come out of the veggies. So that's going to save you probably a couple minutes of time, which is great. It's a great time saver. And I also really like to season as I go, okay? This is a really good trick. If you want to take your dish from good to great, one of the ways to do that, and one of the ways that you better believe is happening in restaurants where you go and eat prepared food that chefs are making for you, is they are seasoning as they're going. So every single time you add something to the pot or the pan, you season it with a little S and a little P, and that's going to help layer on the flavor. And truly, that's going to make a dish go from good to great. Try it. Next time that you're making something, add a carrot first, add some salt, let it cook down. Next, add the onion, add some salt, let it cook down. Next, let's say you're adding corn, add the corn, add some salt, let it cook down. Now, I'm just talking a pinch of salt each time. And if you are salt-free, good for you. I love it. You're probably whole food plant-based then. And I would say one of the really cool things that you can do exactly the same way is remove that salt, but use algae. Dried algae is a wonderful salt substitute. It's very high in iodine. It's very high in other minerals and micronutrients. So that would be a fantastic way to get that like sodium-like feel and mouthfeel without any of the actual sodium from salt. All right, this is good. I have this on a high heat, a medium high, excuse me. And I can see that this is cooking very quickly. I'm gonna do a full screen so you can really be with me here for a second. And do you see, it's already started to change colors a bit, right? It's like nice and starting to get nice and orange. The carrots look brighter. The onions are getting a little bit more translucent. The celery, it's looking perfect and green still. All right, this is yum already. It's smelling so good. All right, you guys, I want to hear from you. What's new in your plant-based world? I know that I am super excited to see a bunch of you join our Facebook group. We are so excited that you're here from all over the world too. And I'm hearing all the reasons why you guys have joined this group, why you're watching the show, what you're getting out of it. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. I'm glad you're getting value out of these recipes. If you haven't done so already, this recipe in particular comes right from my August 2020 cookbook. Yes, I write a new cookbook every month. This is the August book. I'm very excited about it, you guys. We are in week 3, day 2 of week 3. And every Tuesday we do lunch. That's why we are doing a lunch recipe today. And I'm right now working on my September cookbook. Coming soon, super cool recipes. I'm so excited to showcase this here. And next week, we'll be talking about it more. Very excited. There's going to be some really good, yummy eats coming at you. All right, this looks good. This mirepoix looks really, really good. I need a fan right here, just like blowing on my face. I think I'm going to invest in one in the next couple of days and just like clip it. Excuse me, I gotta just like gobble up that water because it's the only thing that keeps me
like 90 degrees today.
Fresh. And it's also 90 degrees today. And you all know, listen, this girl's Italian. So listen, I'm gonna come in here and my hair is sleek. Well, it was just about 5 minutes ago. I made it sleek for you. And by the end of this recipe, boom, it's gonna be like super big. Just you wait. I know it's already starting to happen. Can you see? I'm doing my best, folks. I'm doing my best. All right, listen. We're going to move on to the next thing because we have to move this along quickly. You can take as much time as you need, though, in your kitchen, okay? Take your time, enjoy the process, and get your kids involved. If you have kiddos around or even big kiddos around or husbands or wives that are like kiddos, ask them to help you in the kitchen, right? Somebody can be stirring this pot as you get the other ingredients together. Let's talk about the other ingredients. I want to add some garlic now. You notice I didn't add it at the very beginning. Sometimes if we start with garlic and oil first, we end up cooking it for a long time, we can burn the garlic. And so what I want to do is I really want to prep my pot, which is like really definitely a chef's term. I want to prep my pot, which I've done now. This is nice and hot. It has the onion, it has the celery, it has the carrots. I'm going to add 2 cloves of garlic at this point. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to take these 2 cloves of garlic and I'm going to take a chef's knife and I'm just going to whack it to remove the skin. I'm going to do this just all garlic so you can see it. You don't need my face. Whack it. Whack it, and what you end up doing is removing this outer skin in one fell swoop, right? Look, done. Done. The skin can go right into the compost bin, and oops, I see one little piece. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this garlic. You can mince it by hand if you wanted to, but I'm going to add the garlic into a garlic press. This is the one I use, which I really love. Add it to the side. Scoop out any of that excess garlic that's sitting between the press and the holes. Any good garlic press is going to have some sort of device to remove that layer of skin that sits in there. This one is really, really good. I absolutely love it. I think I got this from Bed Bath & Beyond. Love that store. And that's it. You can use frozen garlic too, one of those cubes. 2 of those cubes would be actually perfect for 2 cloves of garlic. You need 2 cloves, 1 clove per cube. So 2 cloves for this recipe. And now it's time to actually add the split peas. So to just make sure that this went fast, I actually did something really special. Here's organic split peas. Here's what I'm using. Sunridge Farms. These are organic. These are super good. They're big. They're they're whole split pieces. Sometimes if I get other brands, they're like, some of them are actually broken apart too far. But I really like them whole. To keep this going and to keep this soup cooking quickly, I actually soaked them overnight. So I took a 16-ounce jar. I put 2 cups of split peas in here, covered them with water, and let them go to sleep in the refrigerator, soaking in water. I drained off the water, and now these split peas are soaked and ready to go. It's going to cut down the cooking by half, which is really, really a good time saver. The hard part is getting them out of the... is getting him out of the jar. So you got to use like an ice cream spoon, a long spoon sometimes. Get him out. Come on. In the pot you go. Oh yeah, they're like jam-packed in there. Now you want to drain that water. I say this a lot when we're talking about soaked seeds, nuts, and beans. Definitely drain the water. Don't use that water in your soup. Don't use that water in your plant milk, any soaking liquid from nuts, beans, seeds, legumes, pulses, drain it because that soaking liquid now contains phytic acid. And phytic acid is really just something that naturally occurs when you soak starches in water, okay? Now it's fine, it's not so bad, but you don't want to eat that or you don't want to drink it or add it to your soup or your plant milk if that's what you're making because it's going to cause you a little bellyache. So you definitely want to discard that water, okay? All right, so I just dumped those split peas right in. Now I'm going to cover this. Ooh, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of rosemary. This comes from my garden, y'all. Look how beautiful it is. Throw it right in. Right in. And then it's right there. The whole thing will kind of pull away. Those pine needles will kind of pull away, or rosemary needles, I should say, from the stem. And I'm going to add 8 cups of water, or just about that much. No, I think I'm just going to add 4. Yeah, 4 is going to be great because if I add 8, it's going to take us too long. So we're going to just let this cook. Kick up your heat to high. I want to bring it to a boil. And I'm using induction, so this is going to happen rather quickly. But it will certainly happen faster if I cover it. But before I do that, I'm going to season as I go. I just told you to do that, and I'm going to do it now. Just another pinch. Hi, Marie. Good to see you. Thanks so much for popping on. All right, just another pinch of that sea salt because we're layering as we go. And why the heck not? Just a little bit of cracked black pepper. Because I love it kind of spicy. That's the Latin in me. All right, cracked black pepper. Never hurt nobody. Put this on. Now, this is going to come to a boil. I'm going to let it come to a boil. And then I'm going to drop down that heat maybe, but I'm going to taste it before I drop down that heat. I may actually just let it boil the whole time just so we can get this in a bowl and I can show you just how delicious it is. Let me wash my hands really fast. You guys, my sink's now working again. I know a lot of you are thinking, what the heck? She's always using paper towels. Truth be told, my pipe broke underneath my sink and I had to fix it and I fixed it myself. Little liquid cement, y'all. All right, I'm going to check this tofu. This is looking good. I want to mix this tofu. I actually want to like flip it a little bit. So I'm going to use a fish spat. How are we doing on time here? We're doing okay, Danny? 17 minutes. All right, I'm going to try to finish this up rather quickly, as fast as I can. Let me just show you where we're at with this tofu. Take a quick peek with me. Look at this. It's looking good. Let's do an overhead cam, Dan. Will you look at this? I'm so glad I gave it room. You can see it's starting to get nice and kind of like firm on the top. I'm just going to give this a quick flip with my fish spat or my fish spatula. It's a really good tool. I used to use it for fish when I used to eat fish. Now I leave those fish in the waters with their mommies and daddies and brothers and sisters. And I use my fish spat for tofu. Hey, yo, it's a tofu spat now. I love it. I know Marie is cracking up right now. Yes, we leave those fish in the water with their fish families. Okay, gonna go right back into the oven. This has about another 7.5 minutes on the clock. I have it at 750, or excuse me, I have it at 400 degrees, not 750. 7 minutes and 30 seconds. What am I saying? I have it at 400 though. I'm gonna wash my hands one more time. Danny said, you know, you have to wash your hands, Daniela. We gotta fix this pipe because you do this weird thing with your hand when you have stuff on it. That's the chef in me. I don't like being dirty at all. I like to clean as I go. So speaking of, I'm gonna clean as I go. People, you're being very quiet today. Anyone have any questions? Anyone want to talk about how cool it is to be plant-based? What are you feeling? Are you thriving? Are you surviving? All right, here we go. Chelsea. Chelsea says, love your show. Thanks, Ladybird. I appreciate it. I always have pen and paper around to write down the recipes you talk about. Looking forward to the show daily. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Chelsea, you don't have to write them down. You can actually download the cookbook. It would come to you in a second, but I love that you take notes. Please do. I wanted to also emphasize one thing I often forget to do is tell you that I'm not just a chef, but I'm an integrative nutrition health coach. And I always forget to mention that in my introduction because it's a mouthful. And I kind of like Chef D Malfi way better than chef and coach. So anyway, I'm going to use my chefing and coaching skills right now. And let's talk about split peas. I'm going to share a screen with you. I brought a really cool bit of information that I found on the internet. And today I want to showcase for you high protein pulses, all the different types. So follow along with me. Let's go over this really fast as our soup cooks. Here's 7 high protein pulses. These are all really well known. Let's talk about them. Let's start on the bottom with the mighty red kidney bean. That's 7 grams for every half a cup. Then we have the chickpea to the left, 8 grams for every half cup. We use chickpeas a lot, also called chichi beans, if you were raised how I was raised as a Sicilian, also called garbanzo beans. That one goes by lots of different names. We use a lot of chickpeas as well as gram flour or chickpea flour in recipes that are plant-based. You've seen me do that in my chickpea pancake recipe. We also use chickpeas to make sauces and things like hummus. We've done lemony, avocado, and chickpea hummus. It was fantastic. So these are different ways that you can use it. Next, let's talk about the mighty navy bean right in the center. This is 8 grams for every half a cup. The navy bean is fantastic. I love the navy bean because it's one of these beautiful white beans that it kind of remains white. It's buttery, it's smooth, and I love the white color. It's really beautiful. It's gorgeous. We'll go down to the black bean, 7 grams for every half a cup. You can see that most of these are pretty comparable in terms of their grams per half cup proportion. Now we have up at the top, the green lentil, 9 grams for every half a cup. And then we have the black lentil, the mighty black lentil, hard to find, very important for our daily diet. This one has the most protein for any pulse. This is 12 grams for every half a cup. This one is really, really good for us. And then let's talk about the split pea, the final feature here. This is one of the highest amounts of protein of the pulse family. It's 8 grams, another 8 grams for every half a cup. One of the cool things about split peas, though, that I just heard on an amazing introduction to the Forks Over Knife plant-based program. Am I getting this wrong? No, I believe that's the name of the program. Anyway, that they were doing an introduction to the program, and I took it, and they said split peas. That's the green split pea right there, top right-hand corner, is actually one of the most beloved beans or pulses in the world and one of the most nutrient dense. Now, one of the indicators that we can guess about why this food is probably the most protein rich and nutrient dense is based on the color. Now, you hear me talk about eating the rainbow a lot, but nature indicates for us very easily what ingredients are the most nutrient dense. And one of the ways they do that is by distinguishing the most nutrient dense foods by color profile. So the split pea is going to be super great, super green. It's going to be really, really good for us. And there you have it. I just wanted to show that to you because I thought it was really interesting. And I'm such a science nerd. And I want you to have more information like this. So I hope that was helpful. All right, I'm going to look at this soup here. It's not quite boiling. I might just have to plate this up and not take a bite. I'm going to just read. Yeah, let's do a comment. All right, Jessica Beatty, I'm learning the plant-based lifestyle. First time seeing your show. Love it. And you are very pretty. Oh, you are so sweet. Thank you so much, lady. And your daughter is so sweet in your profile pic. I appreciate you. And yeah, I love that you're getting into the plant-based lifestyle. We had a cool question about this in our Facebook group, and I'll mention it. It was, what's the difference between like a plant-based diet and a plant-based lifestyle? And it's kind of like insider speak, honestly, for once you determine and commit to a plant-based diet, you start to sort of embody a plant-based lifestyle, meaning all of a sudden you see things differently. Is this happening for you, Jessica, or anyone on this line? Marie, is this happening for you, or Chelsea? I'm curious about this, right? It's so interesting for me because I'm newly plant-based as well. I'm actually so new that I developed, this show was born through my own curiosity and wanting to share my journey with you. So what I noticed for myself in my own first few weeks and going plant-based was that everything became sort of like an awareness or an awakening. Things that I never ever thought about before, even unrelated to food, all of a sudden had some sort of like root in being plant-based. For instance, the clothes I wear, the messaging, the materials, the ingredients in our shampoo and conditioner and body wash and hand soap and my makeup, right? I didn't want to use any makeup anymore that was tested on animals. So, and you know, my husband, Danny, you all hear me talk about him a lot. If you're new to the show, you will definitely learn who Danny is. Danny is the man behind the cam, and he is producing the show. He is now a total convert, and he wants to show you something.
I do, because I got a new shirt, and I think it's awesome.
Look at this shirt, all right?
And it has a doggy and a pig and the only difference is our perception. So I just wanted to share my shirt with you.
I love it.
Vegan Outfitters.
Vegan Outfitters. You guys, we get nothing for promoting Vegan Outfitters. I want to be honest about that. But he was been so excited. He wore it the other day. And he was like, I didn't come in because you didn't ask me to take a bite today. And I didn't get to show my shirt. So he wore it this week to show you. Really cool stuff. Like when we start to really embody and commit to this way of eating, all of a sudden our life manifests and evolves and expands in new ways. So I don't know if this resonates with you, but it's certainly something that we're experiencing in our home. And I've heard some of you express that you're experiencing it as well. So this is a little food for thought, if you will. I think we had another cool question. No, all right, it was just a comment. Love your shirt, love your shirt. Danny's getting the love. All right, cool. I'm sorry, you guys. I have to have lots of water. Please. What's the question about the recipe?
Making it more spicy from Marie.
Oh, here we go. Marie Montoya. Always trying to change it up. Always trying to make it spicy. I love it. You guys, Marie Montoya is my aunt. I don't know if you knew this, but Marie, here's what you can do. All right. You can add a little red pepper flake. You know that. That's absolutely true. A little pepperoncini, as we call it. And that would be fantastic. That would be actually go, sorry, I don't know why this is beeping. That would make it really, really good and spicy. Where you would add the pepper flake or the red pepper flakes or the pepperoncini, however you say it, is add it to the mirepoix. Now, I'm saying this for two reasons. When you add chili flake to the saute mix, when you're sauteing the vegetables, it is not only going to make the dish richer and more complex in flavor, but it's actually going to start to release the oil inside, hiding inside of that dried pepper flake. The other reason is that it's going to actually start to soften that red chili seed. And that's all that the red pepper flake is it's chili seed. It's the seeds that we remove and scoop out of all of the other chilies, right? Excuse me, a little bit too much water. And so when we use red pepper flake, if we add it too late in the game, like let's say at the end of the cooking process, we end up not getting, we kind of get that flat spice flavor. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like just spicy, a little bit spicy, but it doesn't sort of coat or enrich the entire dish. And also, sometimes those red pepper flakes remain too kind of too crispy, too dry. So you really want to give them time in that sauteed vegetable mirepoix to soften and to break down. It's going to make for a much spicier, much richer flavor, and it's going to help you digest those seeds. All right? Good question. Thank you for asking. No, I love you, Auntie Ree, and I'm so glad that you always ask these questions to make these recipes your own. This is great. I should have added red pepper flakes, but I didn't. Do I have any here? Oh, I do. All right, well, we didn't add them at the very beginning, so I probably won't add them right now. Oh, I wanted to show you, though. I have some red pepper flakes, and I have some navy beans, like I showed you. Pepperoncini, that's what that is. That's what we were just talking about. Here's the navy bean, though. Here's that white navy bean. You guys, you could actually substitute any bean for this recipe. Cannellini, garbanzo, navy bean. All of these would be fantastic. Obviously, red lentil, green lentil, black lentil if you wanted to increase the protein. So the choice is yours. All right. Well, the tofu is done. Let me grab that. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So think of these bits of tofu kind of like, it's like kind of like tofu bacon, but I don't really love calling it tofu bacon because it doesn't look anything like bacon. It's actually more like a smoky tofu crouton. Think of it that way. And this is really just garnish for our soup. It's going to be really great. But the cool thing about this smoky tofu, it's kind of two recipes. You could use this smoky tofu. You could throw it inside of a whole wheat tortilla, put a little guacamole, maybe some romaine shredded, some diced bell peppers, some avocado. Yum. You would have a delicious tofu burrito. You could turn this into tacos. You could put this into a sandwich, put it over pasta. Any way that you would want to eat this is divine. You could also throw it just right on top of a salad if you wanted. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up here. Let me just place this. Actually, I think I'll just leave it right here. And I'm just going to actually put my tofu right in my bowl, and then I'll spoon the soup on top. That's how I will do it.
Why not soup first?
You could do soup first. I'm just helping myself here, Dan. I'm just trying to like work smarter because I don't have a lot of room. Okay, so tofu. Let me taste this soup. I have a feeling it's definitely not going to be ready, but I'm just going to taste it just to see. The vegetables are nice and softened. Beans, though, they take a long time. Not quite ready, but so close. I'm schwitzing. I'm sweating. All right, so close, but I think that you can. I'm just gonna plate it so you can see. Here's actually what I'm gonna do. Bear with me. I'm actually gonna do the final step right now. I know we're at 30 minutes. I'm trying to make these 15-minute episodes. Take your immersion blender. Here's a really, really cool step. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna emulsify half of the beans, and this is going to actually cook them faster. So I'm just going to turn this on, and I'm just gonna let this really kind of emulsify or break down half of the mixture. If you have an immersion blender, do it just like I'm doing it. You could also take this off the heat and put it in a blender, but that's actually more dangerous because you have to kind of blend, and when you put something hot in a blender, it creates steam and it could shoot out at you. So I love the immersion blender or the stick blender so that you can just get right into the pot. And this is from Amazon, friends. I did not spend very much money on this because I was like, I want to just test a cheap version. All right, this is looking great. Yeah, you wait till the end to do this. You have to wait until the split peas are a little softened before you try to blend it up. If you try to blend it up right after you add either the soaked or the raw beans, it's never going to blend up with your stick blender because the beans are going to be just too dried and too hard. Make sense? So you really need them to soften up quite a bit before you do this. And by doing this, you're also thickening the soup. So back in the day when we all used to eat split pea soup with ham butt or ham hock, that ham hock, the acid in the meat would actually break down the beans. But because we're not using any animal protein in this whatsoever, we want to break it down with the stick blender instead, and that's going to thicken it up just ever so slightly. Do you see that happened? It got nice and thick. You can witness it, right, just by looking at the pan. Do you see how nice and thick it is now? Now this looks amazing. I'm just going to take a ladle, and I'm going to ladle this right over my tofu. Oh, yum. Yum, yum, yum. This looks so good. I'm going to drop some more tofu pieces right on the top here because I want you to really be able to see some floating. And I have a little charger or a little plate. I love to serve my soup on a charger. It's much easier to carry and hold, and it looks beautimous. And will you look at this? I'm going to do an overhead cam so you can really see. Here's our split pea soup with smoky tofu. This looks unbelievably good. I want to do a little higher so you can really get in there with me and like even just pretend like you're eating it. How yummy does this look, right? It's bright green. It's creamy. It's thick. That smoky tofu is fantastic. I'm just going to taste for seasoning. I know that it's not fully cooked up. It's almost there. But a little tofu, a little split pea, and here we go. Oh, darn it. That's good. Yes. I love split peas. Yum, yum. Wait, even though I'm sweating, I would still eat this. That's how good it is. You guys try this recipe. You have to. You must. You must. You must. Split pea soup, smoky tofu. You can use these in different ways. This split pea soup is going to last about 4 or 5 days in the refrigerator. Make sure to let it cool before you actually put it in a plastic container or just store it in glass. That is the best way to do it. That smoky tofu is going to last 3 to 4 days in the refrigerator. Use it on a lot of different things. Like I said, the soup is great, salads are great, and any other application. And make it your own. Like Maria offered, you can make this spicier. You can actually add any other beans or pulses that you want, any herbs that you want. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. I'm telling you, if you respect and love your food will love you back. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Hopefully you can join us because I'm going to be actually revealing an amazing product I'm going to be cooking my perfect pasta puttanesca. This is amazing puttanesca pasta, and I'm going to use this amazing bean pasta from an amazing bean pasta company that just started out. They sent me all of their samples, and we're going to test them tomorrow on cam. I hope to see you there. Have a wonderful rest of your day, your evening, your afternoon, or I'll see you next time. Ciao for now. Bye, guys. Peace.